Good evening everyone and welcome to the new era of racing here on TTTV. Tonight you join us for the TTML social race around Austria, the first of its kind since the merger of TTL and TMC took place. As always, I'm a very familiar face around here by now, but if you don't know me, I'm James Head, going to be taking you through the action as lead commentator tonight. Joining me in the commentary box is my very good friend and co-commentator for this evening. It's Mr. Aidan Carter. Aidan, first of all, how are you doing? And secondly, what can we expect from these drivers out on track tonight?
Firstly, thanks for the introduction. I'm doing really well, thank you. How are you doing, James?
I'm doing really well. I'm honestly looking forward to this. But obviously, we've got to expect from these drivers. What do you expect from these drivers tonight anyways?
I think it's going to be a difficult one to predict, if I'm honest. Obviously, the social race is just a great way to start the season. It's obviously before all of the pre-season races and the full season gets underway. It's just a good way for people to kind of get a grips to 50% races again. I mean, we've had a bit of a break, really, in proper league racing for, I'd say, over a month at this point. So it's good to get people back into the groove of things, and this is the perfect way to do it. So I think we'll see a lot of people just trying to figure out really where they are in terms of pace on this game. This game is, in terms of feeling, off of how much and I know you've played the game quite a lot as well, just in terms of feeling, this is a completely different kind of game to 2019, in terms of how this game feels. So I think we're just going to see a lot of people trying to figure out where exactly they fit in the league at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be quite an interesting night, I think, because we're going to see where everyone's pace is at and where they fit into the mould of what division they will possibly be in come in a couple of weeks' time. And I think it's going to be very important that these guys try and make an impression as much as possible. On paper, this looks like the best social race you could probably ever have in TTML for the first race on F1 2020, for my first commentary as well on F1 2020. But what can you guys expect then, the viewers who are tuning in? Who do you expect out on track? Well, I can tell you, in the Mercedes, we should have TTG Bianchi and TTG Mays. In the Ferrari, we've got TTML Johan and Dan Morris, the Irishman. The Red Bulls are filled up with Recon and Conti. Very good pairing, I think, that in the Red Bulls. McLaren, probably the best named pairing you could ever have. The Ferrari Lando and Captain Chubbs. Did say it was a good pairing, didn't I, in the McLarens? The Racing Points are Darkbolt and TTG Cowboy. Another good pairing, I think, there. The Alfa Romeos are Adam Acko and Josh M97, who made a very good impression, of course, in the Sprint Cup. If you haven't watched that, go back and watch it after this. In the Renault, looking into my eyesight going there, Wesker and Matt Tibos, very good pairing, I think, there from TMC. For Haas, we've got Focky. That's the last I'll swear on this channel, unless he wins, of course. And Carlsbury, so they're both in the Haas. The AlphaTauris are Honey Badger and Graham Chappell. And in the Williams, we've got our defending champion, Carlsberg, taking up alongside Scuba here tonight. So very interesting pairings there. Aidan, we see a real mix in the drivers. Who tonight out of the drivers and out for the season ahead as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got a real mix of fast drivers in the lobby today that it definitely is going to throw out some good racing, and Austria is obviously a really good track to race on, so it's going to be interesting to see who's going to come out on top. I think obviously there's so many names at the moment that already stick out to you as really fast people. So Carlsberg, obviously last season's champion, Honey Badger, Recon, Bianchi. There are so many names in this list that I know that are fast, and then there's other people in this list that I've not personally commentated over before, so I'll be excited to see what they can bring and whether they can bring even more competitive challenge to this and see if they can maybe challenge for a win. So it'll be really exciting to see who comes out on top.
Yeah, it is going to be fascinating. Just to update as well on the drivers lineup, we have had a little bit of a change around. Synchronizer DJ is now in the Haas, presumably that's Focky on another account. Colesbury now in the McLaren. He is alongside ILRT Dashi. So ILRT Dashi also in. Everyone else is the same. Focky, by the way, is in the lobby, so Synchronizer is a different person. So just to clarify on that. So Colesbury And Ferry Lando, I think, could make it to Cosby into McLaren, and then we've got Synchronizer into the Haas. It's simple as that. We go into Austria, a very familiar track. You've seen the Austrian and the Styrian Grand Prix, but what can you guys expect from this track? Well, we've got 10 corners. 7 to the right and 3 to the left. Around a 1:03, 1:02 lap time, I think these guys will be setting in short qualifying. It is a 50% race as well. 18 minutes worth of qualifying, 50% race, the traditional format, and I do believe we are running the extended point system as well in a sort of a mock-up of the championship that you will see in the coming weeks or so. But we are about to get going here into Austria. I'm excited. Are you, Aidan?
I'm definitely very excited. I'm really looking forward to seeing who, like I said, who's going to come out on top. And I was saying to you before the stream started, I feel like in the past week, we've had a really Austria overload, really, haven't we? We had obviously the Austrian and the Styrian Grand Prix, and then every social race that I've either taken part in or commentated over since the game has started has been at Austria. So by the time this race is over, I'm probably going to be sick of the track. But yeah, it is a brilliant track to race at. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
It is a fantastic track to race at, and you guys can see the new interface that we've got on F1 2020. The traditional full track map and the data and the telemetry is all there. We've got Wesker. Funny enough, I'm first on board with him. Looks like he's going to be one of the first cars to come out on track. It looks like Kalsper could be one of the first as well. It is Kalsper, our defending champion from TTL F1 last season. He is first out on track. How do you expect him to do here in the Williams?
I have high expectations, really, of Kalsper. Sorry if you're watching, Kalsper, just put some pressure on you, but I have pretty high expectations of him. He's obviously one of the fastest people on the game, and he's a real threat to win this race. And I'm expecting good things out of Kalsper, but I'm sure he won't be short of competition. So he's got to get it done as soon as possible, and obviously he's first one out on the track. I think he's probably going to try and get 4 soft quali runs in. You can do that round here if you absolutely nail your in laps and your out laps and you get it done in time. You can get 4 quali runs done here, so he's given himself the perfect opportunity to do that.
Yeah, running the new Williams livery as well with a nice rainbow coloured halo there going over it. Beautiful camera angle that. So, Kalsper about to start us off then on the first lap that I get to commentate on in the new game. It couldn't be a more fitting person to go on board with either. So Kalsper through the final corner really opens up the taps and will get to about 200 mile an hour before he goes up the hill through Lauda corner at turn 1, and he brakes just off the 100 metre board. Very hard into the braking zone, very nicely there. Up towards turn 2, which is the kink, and then turn 3 at the top of the hairpin, up towards the highest point of the track where the Styrian Mountains. This track can be taken at something like 67% full throttle, 15.7 through the first sector from Kalsper, already looking very quick compared to F1 2019, and now down the hill into the heavy braking zone of turn 4. Again, we'll reach nearly 200 mile an hour down to here, just braking off the 100 metre board, down into a very high second gear, through up to third, and then now controls the car nicely up towards turn 6. Very tricky corner. Perez did a move around here in real life in the Styrian Grand Prix, a phenomenal move as well. Kalsper now through 7 and 8. This is looking like a very clean lap, I've got to say so myself. He's on a soft compound of tyres, so Kalsper will be hoping to try and get a very good lap in here. Flies it through 7th gear, through the final 2 corners, through turn 9 and 10. This is a lap of Austria pretty much done in the blink of an eye. And Kalsper, well, he's set to 102.9, and that is a quick lap to get us underway.
That is a really quick lap. I was actually on board with Honey Badger in behind him. He was the next person to cross the line. He invalidated, unfortunately. He was on to match the time, but a little bit of a mistake in the last sector just carried a bit too much speed into turn 9. But Honey Badger's got a decent pace at this point as well. So once he gets a clean lap together, he's definitely a shot for pole. Wesker as well with good time of 1:03.3. Obviously, we've seen Wesker before. He's had good pace, but he seems even stronger on this game.
He does. He's only 4 tenths off Kalsper, and 4 tenths around here is not that much to gain, to be honest, so he could easily make that up. I'm just going on board with Scuba. He's coming around the final corner. He's on a set of medium compound of tyres. As usual, the tyre graphic is belittling me on the left-hand side. He goes 5th, though, with a 104.2, the Irishman, so he goes 1.3 seconds off Kalsper. There's Bianchi just going 3rd, but bettered by Adam Acko. So Adam Acko goes 3rd with a 103.8. But currently, Kalsper, Wesker, the top 2, Adam Acko filling out the top 3. Everyone else on laps currently just trying to stick on board with somebody coming through the final sector. You're on board with Honey Badger, by the way. It was a 103.1, I think. So he would have gone 2nd with his lap time. So Honey Badger, very unlucky. Matt Tibos we're on board with. Very quick driver back in his day when I used to commentate and own TFRL back in the day as well. This is looking like a quick lap. I think he could go second as Recon goes quickest. Matt Tibos goes fourth behind Wesker. Nice lap there by Matt Tibos. That was his second lap as well on a set of softs, and Recon as well, 6,000 quicker than Carlsberg on a second lap on that set of softs.
Yeah, second lap on a set of soft tyres, good lap from Recon, but Yarman goes fastest on a 2.7. Wow, that's come from absolutely nowhere in the Ferrari. He's on the second lap on the soft tyres as well. Maybe it's better to go for maybe 2 warm-up laps and go on your second lap, because it's seemingly working for most of the guys at the front of the field at the moment. But that's kind of ruled them out of doing 4 runs at this point. They're going to run out of time at this point if they're not quick enough to get back to the pit lane. But at the moment, the 2 laps on the soft tyre seems to be working in qualifying.
It definitely does, and Johan getting very good pace there. TTML Johan going quickest with a 102.7. Cosby going fourth. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. 102.9.
Yeah, wow. Look at that. Second to fourth, separated by less than half a tenth of a second already. Just goes to show how close this field is already. We're only 5 minutes into qualifying. But another one that stands out as well is Bianchi. He's in a 3.9. He's on the medium tyres. So look out for him when he finally puts the soft tyres on. But that is a brilliant lap for the Mercedes man. Expecting to gain probably, I'd say, around a second on that. So he could be the next man to get into the 2.9s. He's definitely on for a shot of pole after that first lap on the medium tyres.
Matt Tibos escapes out the way there. Bianchi actually a 10th up. I'm not sure if he's going to come into the pits. There's a Ferrari to the right-hand side of him. That's Johan now going down towards pit lane. He is staying out through the final 2 corners, and he's just invalidated on the exit of turn 9 there. So Bianchi, unfortunately, invalidating his lap. It would have been a 103.8. So he found, what, a half a tenth in the final sector?
Yeah, about half a tenth or so. But it just goes to show he's actually got quite a bit of fuel in that car. If he's able to go for a third lap, he has got quite a bit of fuel in that Mercedes, so that just goes to show how fast he could be on the soft. So I'm looking forward to when he finally does that. Corboy's trying the same strategy at the moment as Bianchi, but he's not quite got the same pace at this point. He's 8 tenths off of his fellow TTT driver. Just looking at everyone else that hasn't set a lap time yet, Josh has invalidated his run before he's even started the lap by the looks of things, so he's going to have to wait another turn to go again. Honey Badger's just started to run, but he also invalidated, I think, at the last corner, so that's invalidated his first qualifying lap on his second set of tyres already, so it's not quite gone Honey Badger's way so far.
So these guys, Josh and Honey Badger, must have picked up invalidations through turn 9 or through the final corner for it to be like a this and next lap invalidated.
Yeah, absolutely, and Dartbolt actually was just on board with him. He's one wide on the exit of turn 1 on his first lap on this set of tyres as well, so that's another person who hasn't set a lap time yet that has invalidated again. So just waiting for Mays and Dan Morris to set a lap time at this point. Dan Morris coming up to the final 2 corners to start his first run. We'll have to see if he's able to keep it on the track. It is very easy to invalidate around Austria, so getting a clean lap in is just as difficult as getting a fast one in.
Dan, of course, part of the ownership here now in TTML, the Irishman. He goes across the line. A 104.5 to beat. Let's see what he can do on his first lap. Through turn 1 he goes, and now up the hill towards turn 2 and 3. He's got a car just coming out the pits to the just in front of him. That's Pocky getting out the way in the Haas. So Dan up the top of the hill, 15.8 through the first sector. Not the quickest first sector we've seen, but a nice competitive first sector nonetheless. And it looks like he'll probably go in around midfield, I think, with this lap currently. There's the yellow flag down in turn 4. That's soon cleared. I think that was a McLaren, possibly of Carlsbury getting out the way, or Dashi. Both of them are on out laps. So Dan Morris now through turn 4, through turn 5. This is looking quite good so far from Dan. Just need to attack this corner through about halfway through 5th gear there. 44.5 through the middle sector. This is looking pretty quick from the Irishman. Let's see what he can do. Through 7 and 8, and now up the hill towards turn 9. You can take this nearly flat out. You do have to give a little bit of lift through turn 9. Dan Morris looking very good here. That is how you take turn 9. And now through turn 10, very clean final couple of corners. Let's see what the Irishman can do across the line. He goes 10th, so I said around midfield, perfectly in the middle of the pack. 103.746, and he goes 200s behind his fellow Irishman, Graham, in 10th position.
Yeah, not bad from Dan Morris. Definitely time to improve there as well. I'd say turn 9 he was a little bit wide of the apex, so there is still some time in there, but considering how close the field is, as Honey Badger jumps up to second place on another man in the 1 minute 2.9s, a 1 minute 2.908. He goes second on his second lap on that set of tyres as well. Recon's on another lap. I don't know if he's improving. He's slightly up. It's not quite Yarman range yet, though. He's going to get ahead of Honey Badger, but he actually invalidated inside of turn 9. So another mistake for Recon, and he's not going to get this lap time in. Let's see what the time would have been. It's a 2.783, but that's with a cut off the second to last corner. So I don't think that lap time is quite representative of what his true pace is, but we'll have to wait and see if he goes for another lap on the same set of tyres or not.
Yeah, he invalidated that lap time, but it was quite interesting to see, actually. He would have been 7,000 quicker than Johan if he didn't invalidate. So it's as simple as that. Recon, I think, will have to come back into the pit lane. Let's see if there's anybody else. Matt Tibos
on the last corner. Yeah, he's coming to finish his next lap in this session. Does he go into the 2s? Not quite. It's a 3.1. Gains 2.5 tenths on his best, and he goes P6 ahead of his Renault teammate as well. So a good lap for Matt Tibos, but there's a little bit of a gap now forming in the field. The top 5 have kind of separated themselves, and the rest of the field at the moment, they've got nearly a 2/10 gap to the rest of the field. So let's see if anyone can fill that gap.
Yeah, Carlsberg to Matt Tibos is 10.5, nearly 2 tenths per second between 5th and 6th. So there's quite a big gap there that needs to be filled. Otherwise, I think it's been very close this qualifying session. From Johan down to Dan Morris, a second separates the top 13. So that's how close it is.
Yeah, Bianchi's on his first soft lap, so I'm just on board with that. It wasn't the best first sector, 15.8. That can definitely be improved. Comes to the end of the first sector, he's 4 tenths up on his best time, but this isn't quite as competitive as I was quite expecting. This will probably put him in 5 at this point. Let's see what he does in the last 2 corners. Very committed through turn 9 and through turn 10. Keeps it well within the lines, though. He's not really pushing the track limits, and it's only a 3.3 in the end, so he only goes P9 with that lap time.
Just took a little bit too much speed there down in towards turn 10. He just sort of like corrected his line going through the corner. He almost nearly took it a little bit too quick, and he would have invalidated if he did. But Bianchi goes 11th now. I think Callboy's just gone 10th.
Goes to the front, yeah. The other medium runner, he jumps Bianchi into P10, so there's definitely a lot more time on the table for Bianchi. He's not really using the track limits to its full extent. He's being very cautious, so there's definitely a lot more speed in that Mercedes.
How close is it between the top 10? It's 5 tenths of a second as Carlsberg goes second.
Carlsberg goes second at 2:08, so he goes in between Yarman and Honey Badger. Yarman's on another lap, but he's invalidated actually, so he's coming straight back in the pit lane to put a fresh set of soft tyres on. But at the moment, no one really able to challenge him so far. But yeah, great lap from Carlsberg to go into second place.
Carlsberg just preparing for a lap. I think I said Carlsberg there. It's Carlsberg, his name. Our defending champion from TTL F1, really attacking turn 1. That almost looked like a corner cut to me, but it didn't. Carlsberg on his way up towards turn 2 and 3 once again. Let's see what he can do through this first sector. 600s up already. Very wide on the entrance into turn 3 to try and prioritise that run out the corner. Just didn't get really the run out the corner that I've been expecting. Not really throttling on the power that too much, but Carlsberg now down towards turn 4. Very heavy braking zone. You can hear the anti-lock brakes really kicking in there. Carlsberg obviously running no ABS here out on track. He's looking good as he comes through turn 6. Now through 7 and 8. You can count the corners as they go. 9,000's down. So he's actually lost time as a result of that out of that lock-up down towards turn 4. So he's really lost the time. He needs to pick it up in this final sector. He'll be hoping to try and go ahead of Honey Badger, possibly even Carlsberg. I don't think he'll be in Johan territory, but Carlsberg around the final corner very quick. I tell you what, he's going to go second with this. Carlsberg across the line, 102.8. He made it right up in that final sector.
Wow, he's definitely a shot on for pole. There's at least a 10th in that lap time based on that middle sector. Look at that, 13,000 separates the front row. That's incredibly close. But yeah, it just goes to show a tiny mistake like Carlsberg managed to do at turn 4 can cost you pole position here. There's definitely I would say a 1 minute 2.6 maybe in that car.
Scuba goes 7th, just coming across the line there as well. The Irishman going up to 103.014, only 5,000 off Josh. So very close.
Honey Badger invalidated a 2.7. He would have gone pole with that lap time, actually, Honey Badger, but he invalidated on the exit of turn 9. He was ever so slightly wide, and it cost him. But that's another person that's not quite met his full potential yet. So keep an eye out for him. I'm going to run on board with Tibos as well, see what he can do on his next lap. I think he's on his 3rd set of soft tyres now.
He is.
So he comes into turn 4. Another person struggling with the braking zone at turn 4. It's obviously downhill, so it's a lot longer than most of the braking zones on this track. A lot of people struggling with lockups there. Dartbot moves out of the way nicely in the middle sector. It's 44.1. He's a little bit down actually on his best time, so he's not looking like he's going to improve unless he can pull something magical in the last sector. But he's got a Williams moving slowly in front of him. Carlsberg moves out the way fine though. He moves that way well before the corner. But he's not really attacking the curbs as much as other people around him. Nice and neat through the last corner, but not as aggressive as other people. And it doesn't quite pay off in the end. He gained a bit of time back, but not enough to improve on P8.
Yeah, nice lap that by Matt Tibos. He can improve, I think, noticeably, probably 0.2 of a second in that final sector and that middle sector as well. So it'll be quite interesting to see. Bianchi's just started up on a lap. Dan Morris back into the pit lane. Not many out on track now. So we'll go on board with Bianchi. 0.6 up on his previous best. I think that's a glitch. 103.316 is his current best lap time. 600s up through turn 3. Looking very nice there, the Italian, as he comes now down the hill. Bianchi, obviously, a very new guy to TTG as well, and to TTML. This is his first season with us here in TTML, as it is for everyone, to be honest, because it is season 1 of TTML. So I'll correct myself right there. But Bianchi, he came in last. He didn't really risk with us last season in any league. So let's see what he's doing through this middle sector. This is a very quick lap. I've got to say, 43.9 through the middle sector. That's the fastest I've seen in the middle sector for sure. So Bianchi needs to find this time. I'm expecting him to go 6th possibly with this lap as he comes through the final 2 corners, through turn 9 and then through turn 10. Very, very good on the power. Yeah. Tell you what, this is going to be very close to Paul. Comes across the line, goes 6th. So he goes ahead of Josh. Perfect prediction.
Yeah, another person in the 1 minute 2.9s, but it just goes to show that that's close to pole position and he's 6th. That's just how close the top 6 is. But yeah, he was much more aggressive than the last time we were on board with him, and that's gained him quite a bit of time in the last sector. But again, I'm kind of shocked that Bianchi set such a good time on the medium tyres and he's not quite got the same pace on the softs. But I mean, it just goes to show how close the field is. Yarman, though, I'm shocked to see Yarman still on pole position at the moment because he set that time on his first set of softs and he's not come close to beating his own time yet. So I wonder if he can actually improve on that time.
I think he will. I think he will. I think we might get a 1 or 2.5 from somebody, to be honest. Really sticking it out there for pole position. 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, just ticking under. Johan on top, Carlsberg second, Carlsberg in third. But top 16 separated by less than a second. I just thought I'd point that out there.
Yeah, so wow, it just goes to, it's Austria, isn't it? Austria is one of those great tracks that brings such close fields. Have to wait and see if Focky, Synchronizer and Maze can get in on the action as well. They're kind of lagging behind a little bit, but I don't think any of them really have had the cleanest of runs so far, so it's all kind of down to their last runs. Got people starting their final runs though. Carlsberg is one of the main ones to start his last run. He's coming up to turn 1 now. Oh, this is a lot of the curve. Is he going to get a slipstream of Honey Badger maybe up to turn 3? That could really benefit him. It's not quite close enough to really get the benefits, and Honey Badger moves out the way. But let's see the first sector. It's 3,000s down on his personal best, so he's not quite improving, but it's pretty much bang on at the moment, so he can still improve in the final 2 sectors. Great traction out of turn 3, coming down the straight to turn 4. Let's see if he struggles with braking as well, whether he locks up into turn 4 or not. Comes down into turn 4. It looks like he might be running ABS actually, because he was able to turn into the corner quite early while braking as well. So unless he got very lucky with the brakes there. Let's see if he comes through the middle part of the lap now. Can he beat a 43.9 in the middle part of the lap? It's 43.9 actually, so he's pretty much bang on with everyone else around him. He's ever so slightly up on his time. This could getting up to second. If he nails the final sector, he could get first as well. The rest of the people around him though are on laps as well. Very committed through turn 9 and now through turn 10 as well. Doesn't use a lot of the inside curb. Bit of understeer on the exit, but he shouldn't have suffered too much.
Goes pole.
And he does go to pole, yeah. Great final sector then from Carlsberg. He takes pole by less than 300ths of a second.
Yarman improving.
To the line.
Oh.
And he improves to take pole.
And Carlsberg goes second.
So they're back to their original positions. Just as Carlsberg takes pole position, the 2 were in front of him have moved back ahead again, but a great lap from Yaram, and he's back onto pole position again.
Goodness me, less than a 10th of a second, just over a 10th of a second separating the top 3 as well. So really, they are the ones to beat, possibly out on track. I'm just flicking through the guys coming into the final sector. We've got Focky through the first sector, Maze in the middle. Just trying to stick on board with somebody. Cowboy coming through the final corner. We've got Josh as well.
He's just started another run actually. I think he invalidated his first time, so he's going again on the same set of tyres.
Oh, Cowboy smashes across the wall and into the pit wall. Clearly not happy with that lap. Invalidated through the final corner by the looks of it. And retires from the session. So that's him done. Matt Tibos now coming around the final corner. Let's see what he can do. Can the Renault man go? Oh, there's a Ferrari round in the final sector. Looked like that might have been Dan Morris possibly going into the pit lane. Matt Tibos goes across the line. Doesn't improve. Less than the 10th off. Who was that going up into position? Was that Recon?
P4. Yeah, Recon into P4 on his second lap on the soft tyres. Just off of Carlsberg, but I was on board with Honey Badger. Honey Badger again has invalidated another time. So Honey Badger will not improve on P5.
Dark Ball crashing through the final corner as well, and that I think pretty much qualifying done. Josh purple in the middle sector.
Scuba got a slipstream off his teammate as well. Let's see what he can do. He's currently P8. This should be in the 2s. How close can he get to the front of the grid? Brilliant last 2 corners. He does a 1 minute, 2.9. He goes up to P6 because of that.
Josh made a mistake.
4 thousandths of a second ahead of Bianchi.
How close is it out on track? I know it's Austrian. Wow. People will be saying about the comment section, saying, "Oh, it's Austria." It's bound to be very close in qualifying. But this, remember, is the first social race we've ever had on this game. These guys might have not touched the game until now. It's unbelievable, I think. And to have the top 15 separated by less than a second just comes to show what a treat we have in store for you here tonight. Fantastic.
Yeah, the top 11, actually the top 10 covered by half a second, less than half a second. Incredibly close. And it just goes to show, in the individual gaps, only minuscule mistakes are costing you so many positions at the moment. I mean, the gap from pole to third is less than a tenth of a second.
Absolutely unbelievable. We see him with Scuba finishing in 6th position there in qualifying. But let me have a look at the comment section while we run down the short qualifying order from the 18 minutes that we've just had. Johan on top with Carlsberg in second, 400ths of a second separating the two on the front row of the grid. Carlsberg in third with Recon in fourth, Honey Badger in fifth with Scuba in sixth, Bianchi in seventh, only 4 thousandths off Scuba in the end. Josh in eighth, Wesker in ninth, and Matt Tibos in 10th. 4.5 tenths separating the top 10 is absolutely unheard of. Callboy in 11th with Darkbolt in 12th, so Racing Point 6th row of the grid. Adamako, Dan Morris 13th and 14th with Dashel in 15th, Graham in 16th, Conti in 17th, Focky in 18th, Synchronizer in 19th, and Mays getting in 20th. 1.7 seconds though, separating everyone out on track. Brilliant.
Absolutely, yeah. Just goes to show how close the field is. Even though a lot of these people are in completely different divisions as well, and they're still that close to each other. Is absolutely brilliant. And we know Austria brings really good races, and necessarily it's very rare, honestly, for an Austrian race for the pole sitter to win the race. So I'd say any one of the top 10 at this point could win this race.
Andy coming in with a comment section, by the way, and good evening to everyone that is tuning in for this TTML social race for Season 1 here in Austria. James Head and Aidan Carter taking you through the commentary as always. Andy says, I expect everyone to set the same lap time. We have seen enough of Austria that it should be second nature to everyone now. I totally agree on that.
kind of agree with Andy on that one, actually. Like I said earlier on, the amount of times I've been doing races at Austria over the past week is insane, but I mean, he was almost bang on with his prediction.
He was almost bang on, yeah, totally. Good evening to everyone, as I say, tuning in. Honey Badger just coming in and saying as well, hit the wall on my outlap of his last run. So that's quite intriguing. Right, let's see if we can time the tyre graphic coming up. It'll come up eventually, I hope. I hope we haven't broke the game, eventually. Don't you love it? Just waiting on everyone's connections, I think, to come up, unless it's just my connection that's going, as always. But we should have the tyre graphic coming up any second now. And it'll come up for about 5 seconds and then disappear from your screens and from the face of the earth.
Absolutely, just waiting, obviously, for the formation lap to get underway. Maybe